First of all, I have heard some people say that they don't like the music, the background music that I put on my videos. Some say it's too loud, some say they don't like it at all. And so, what I'm going to do, and it's easy to do, so it's no big deal, is I'm going to start uploading 2 versions. I'm going to upload a version with background music, and I will upload a version without background music. And the version without background music is going to say somewhere in the title, in brackets, no music. So, I think that's the best way to proceed. Like I said, some like them, some like it, some don't. So it doesn't really bother me one way or the other. Like I said, with the program I use, it's very easy to do, and so that's that. Sorry. My dad is home from the hospital. Thank you for the well wishes. He's been doing pretty good. But lately I have been able to keep to my upload schedule of every day. That may change in the future, so just, be aware that I'm in a very rocky place right now where things can change in an instant. So just be aware of that. And like I said, I do plan on doing more live shows because they're a lot easier than the edited shows. They take a lot less prep. So that being said, I'm going to get to the theme for today, which is taken. Yes, I am going to get another Bible. It's the Douay Rheims version. I don't know if you can see it there or not. It's the Douay Rheims. So I'm still taking from this. And yes, I am going to get something like an NIV or something like that. So, I've got to get the money. I am getting some money now because I am monetized from YouTube. But, I do have to get about $25 together to get an NIV version. So until I can get an NIV version, you're pretty much stuck with this Douay Rheims version unless you want me to get out a huge, and when I say huge, I mean like that thick and about that big of a Bible, because it's not only a Bible, but it has other stuff in it. So, like archaeology, cultural stuff, that kind of thing. So, for right now, it's just easier for me to use this one because it's not big. So, going on to the faithful and wise servant, or as the Jehovah's Witnesses like to say, the faithful and discreet slave. Now, they like to cite Matthew 24:45-47, but I'm actually going to be reading from 45 all the way to the end of the chapter in verse 51, because they leave out some stuff. Gee, that's a surprise. So, starting in Matthew 24:45, from the Douay-Rheims. Who thinkest thou is a faithful, so not the faithful, a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath appointed over his family to give them meat in season? Blessed is that servant, whom when his Lord shall come, he shall find so doing. Amen, I say to you, he shall place him over all his goods. And this is the part they always leave out. Always leave out. Because if there are any Jehovah's Witnesses that are listening to this, they don't want you reading on to verses 48 to 51. Okay? So moving on. Verses 48 to 51. But if that evil servant, so in 45 it says he's a faithful servant. Okay, but this servant can become evil. Alright? But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord is long a-coming, and shall begin to strike his fellow servants, and shall eat and drink with drunkards, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day that he hopeth not, and at an hour that he knoweth not, and shall separate him, and appoint his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And I am going to get the weeping and gnashing of teeth, but that's going to be later. Right now, let's focus on the servant. So, this servant can be good, he can be faithful and wise, or he can be evil. That's what they don't want you to know. The second thing they don't want you to know is that Matthew 24 is full of parables. Parables are not promises. They are simply stories that illustrate something. So, if you look up into Matthew 24, and if we read from verse 37, and as in the days of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, even till that day in which Noah entered into the ark. And they knew not till the flood came and took them all away. So also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Then two shall be in the field, one shall be taken, and one shall be left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, one shall be taken, and one shall be left. Watch ye therefore, because you know not what hour your Lord will come. But this ye know, that if the goodman of the house knew at what hour the thief would come, he would certainly watch, and would not suffer his house to be broken open. Wherefore, be you also ready, because at what hour you know not the Son of Man will come. That was verse 44, and then 45 says, who thinkest thou is a faithful and wise servant? So, I just want to recap a few things, and then and then I'll get off. First of all, it's a parable. It's not a promise. Jesus never promised, and I don't believe in Jesus anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. If you listen to me and you decide to still be a Christian, it doesn't bother me. If you listen to me and you still decide to be a Jehovah's Witness, it doesn't bother me. It just doesn't. The only thing I am interested in is for you to know the truth, and for you to make an informed decision. Because let me tell you something. These church leaders, especially in Christianity, don't tell you the truth. They may tell you some of the truth, but they don't tell you all of the truth. And I don't necessarily think that they're coming from a bad place. Not all of them. Some of them definitely are coming from a bad place. Kent Hovind. But I don't think all of them are. I think most of them come from a good place. I think most of them really do believe the stuff they're, putting out there. But they, these pastors, these leaders, they may not even know it, because this stuff has been buried for so long. Way back when the Catholic Church began, they decided that they were going to pretty much annihilate every other Christian denomination, whatever else you want to think of it as, that would contend with them for the Romans. And they did this for very political reason, especially Constantine did. At that point, Constantine needed a religion that would unite the empire. That is basically why Christianity became the Roman state religion. It wasn't because Constantine had this great vision of a cross saying, "Go conquer in the name of Jesus Christ." He probably made that up later. Okay? First and foremost, Constantine was a politician. And he knew the best way to unite an empire was through religion. It always has been. And it probably always will be, unfortunately. So when the Roman Catholic Church was, was coming together, they decided that they were going to destroy everything that was not approved of by the council, who was going to decide, what went into the Bible and what didn't. Which, by the way, was not the Council of Nicea. I do have a mini-series on the Council of Nicea on my channel. I'll leave it in the description. The Council of Nicea did not decide which books would be canonized and which books wouldn't. That was another council. But anyway, so after this council that decided which books to be canonized and which books wouldn't, the Romans basically had everything else destroyed. That's why you had this crazy discovery in the caves of Qumran, where you have these jars, and within these jars are parchments of paper that had never before been seen. You had those hidden in the caves of Qumran because that was the only safe place from the Romans. So we have the Qumran documents. There may be other documents. Sure. The Catholics have an archives. Yes, they do. It would not surprise me to know that some of the books or letters or whatnot that the Catholic Church does not want to get out, it would not surprise me a bit to find out that those were in the Catholic archives. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, are there? I don't know. Basically, I think the only one who does know, well, there's probably a group of people, and these people surround the Pope. So, so they're very high up. There's no way they're going to, give up the Catholic Church if there is something that totally undermines the Catholic Church. But, be that as it may, I'm not against Catholics. I am not against Catholics. I use a Catholic Bible. I'm not against Catholics. This is in your past, and I don't hold you responsible for it. Just like, the British, in the past had a, were the overlords of the Americans, and I'm an American, so, I don't hold that against the British. And that happened a long time after, the Catholics did this. So I am not blaming the Catholics. I'm not even blaming the Pope. It's just, it is what it is, and unfortunately these things have happened, and I am not going to sugarcoat it, and I am not going to say, well, you know what, I don't want to say this didn't happen, so I'm going to say this didn't happen. I am not like that. I have had enough of burying my head in the sand. It's called being in religion, at least for me. You might be in religion, you might think everything is hunky-dory, that's fine, I don't care. If you want to stay in religion, stay in religion. It doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. All I want you to do is be informed and make informed decisions. And that is something that I was not able to do until recently. And that is why I have my channel. So, getting back to the faithful and wise servant, or as the JWs say, the faithful and discreet slave. It is not a promise. And if you read, this is what not only Jehovah's Witnesses, but what most Christians don't do. And I'm not saying anything against anybody, I totally understand. I get it. I was there too, but people don't read things in context, and context is very important. When you look at the parable of the faithful and wise servant, if you look at the rest of chapter 24, you can easily see that it is a parable. Quite easily. And even if you don't want to read what comes before verse 45 in chapter 24, keep reading to the end of the chapter, read past verse 27 and you will find, hey, this isn't talking about a promise at all. This is a parable. Hey, Maya. Sorry. Hi, Maya Atkinson. So it's a parable. You can see that. All of chapter 24 is different parables. The parable of the faithful and wise servant is not any different. It is a parable. And, you know, and this is like one of their key doctrines. One of the Jehovah's Witness key doctrines is the faithful and discreet slave. Look, I said before, I don't care if you want to go on being a Jehovah's Witness. I just want you to have your eyes open. If you want to go ahead and be a Jehovah's Witness, go ahead. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me one bit. But I want you to be informed. And this is what most religious people don't want you to do. And like I said, I'm not blaming them either, because most of them have gotten the wool pulled over their eyes. You know, so this goes very far back. Very far back. And, you know, and we wouldn't even know half of the stuff we know now without archaeology. And, you know, archaeology is finding more and more things. You know, it used to be before Petrie, who was the British dude who founded archaeology. You know, before Petrie that founded archaeology, he was more of an armchair archaeologist, but he did go out there. He was a rich dude. He went out there and he did digs and stuff like that. It wasn't formulated like later on the digs would be, like, you know, be careful about this, be careful about that. But he did start archaeology as, you know, a science. So, you know, so since Petrie, we found a lot, you know, and, you know, Petrie was even of the generation that probably even thought that Israel did come out of Egypt and spent 40 years in the wilderness. And now we know that is not true. So anyway, like I said, don't care one way or another if you decide you still want to be religious. Doesn't really matter to me. All I want you to do is to be informed. Well, Maya, I've been on here for almost 24 minutes, so I am going to leave. I don't know when my dad's coming home, so I don't want to, you know, be on the computer when he comes home talking to you guys, you know. So I will leave you to it. And Maya, if you want to, I don't know how long it takes for YouTube to upload this, but if you want to start from the beginning, you know, go ahead. There is an announcement at the beginning